Right now, there's a guy double texting a girl who left him on read 6 hours ago. He's staring at his phone, rewriting the same message 5 times, checking her story, wondering who that guy in the background is. He's rearranging his entire day around the possibility of a reply. He's planning their future together, and she hasn't even decided if she feels like answering hey yet. Meanwhile, there's another guy with half his looks, half his money, half his nice guy energy. He's not chasing anyone. He's focused. He replies when he has time. He walks away when things are one-sided. And somehow, she's obsessing over him, checking his last scene, overthinking his short replies. Same girl. 2 guys. One is chasing. One is being chosen. The difference isn't looks. It's power. And here's the part nobody told you growing up. The moment you chase a woman, you step down from the throne in your own life, and you hand her the crown. Not because she's evil, because you're broadcasting something with every desperate text, every forced compliment, every please just give me a chance speech. You have value. You might not say it with words, but she feels it. And people, men or women, rarely respect what begs for them. And sometimes, sure, it works on a surface level. You might get a date. You might even get the relationship. But underneath, she knows the truth. You didn't choose each other. You auditioned. You campaigned. You sold yourself like a politician looking for votes. She didn't feel drawn in. She got worn down. That's not attraction. That's emotional erosion. Machiavelli, 500 years ago, was not writing about dating apps. But he understood human nature in a way most modern nice guys refuse to face. Men in general judge more from appearances than from reality. Niccolò Machiavelli, what does that mean in your world? She's not seeing your good heart at first. She's seeing your behavior, your frame, your posture. She sees the guy who cancels his plans to answer her call. The guy who replies in 5 seconds to her dry LOL. The guy who keeps showing up even when she keeps flaking. And from those appearances, her brain makes a judgment long before your personality finishes loading. This guy will chase. This guy will wait. You think you're showing devotion. She's seeing desperation. You think you're showing loyalty. Here's the dark psychology nobody explained to you in a way that actually hurt enough to change you. The more you chase, the less she has to value you. Because she doesn't have to earn your presence. She doesn't have to risk anything. She doesn't have to question where she stands. You already decided. She's the prize. You're the applicant. And once that dynamic is set, everything that happens after is just details. Look at your own history. Think about the girl you chased the hardest. The late-night calls. The long paragraphs. The "I'll always be there for you" speeches before you even had a label. Did she treat you better or worse? And now think about the girl you liked but didn't worship. The one you took seriously but not as your entire identity. The one you would have been sad to lose but still would have survived. Who respected you more? The answer is almost always the same. One guy wrote this under a clip about chasing, and it was painfully honest. I spent 2 years chasing a girl who saw me as a backup plan. When she finally agreed to date me, she was bored within a month. The same girl obsessed over a dude who barely texted her. That's when I realized it wasn't about being good enough. That's the Machiavellian part. Positioning. Not manipulation. Not tricking her. Positioning yourself as someone whose time, attention, and affection are expensive, not free samples at the mall. You think dark psychology means mind games. In reality, most of the dark part is just this. People respond more intensely to what they can't control. When you chase, you announce, you are safe. I am predictable. Zero mystery. Zero tension. Zero risk on her side. When you don't chase, when you stay grounded, when you show interest once and then let her decide if she wants to invest back, you create something most guys never let a woman feel. The possibility of loss. Not because you're punishing her. Because you have a life. Because you are not bending your entire existence around someone who hasn't earned that place. Niccolò Machiavelli. People hear that and imagine a cartoon villain. But read it like this. If the choice is between someone loving the idea of you because you are endlessly available and someone quietly fearing the loss of you because you have standards, pick the second. Fear here isn't terror. It's respect plus risk. If you always chase, she never has to feel that. You've removed her fear of loss. You've taken away the only leverage attraction really has, mutual uncertainty. Instead of 2 people slowly choosing each other, it becomes one person begging and another person deciding whether they're bored enough to say yes. That is not love. That's power imbalance with a cute couple photo on top. And the worst part? When you chase, it doesn't only ruin how she sees you. It ruins how you see yourself. You start measuring your value by her replies. If she texts back quickly, you feel alive. If she's cold, you feel worthless. Suddenly, your day isn't yours. It's a prisoner of 3 dots on a screen. You stop working on your goals because your brain is busy rehearsing imaginary conversations. You stop enjoying time with your friends because you're checking your phone under the table. You didn't just chase her. You abandoned yourself. Machiavelli wrote about princes who lost their states because they neglected their own power base while obsessing over external approval. You're doing the same thing, just with a girl instead of a kingdom. And you think it's romantic. Here's the cold truth. No woman with real self-respect wants a man who has abandoned himself to impress her. She might use him. She might enjoy the attention. She might keep him on the hook. But respect him? No. Because if you don't guard your own dignity, why should she guard it for you? This is where dark psychology and self-respect align. The less you chase, the more space you create for genuine interest to move toward you. When you never chase, you're not playing hard to get. You're simply refusing to play the role of unpaid emotional employee. You can show interest. You can text first. You can make the first move. It means you don't keep sprinting after someone who is walking away. You invite. You observe. You match energy. If she invests back, great. You build something. If she doesn't, you pivot, not plead. Niccolo Machiavelli the fool spends months, even years, chasing, overgiving, over-explaining, until he's so exhausted and humiliated that he finally walks away. The wise man. He pays attention early. If the interest isn't mutual, if the energy is one-sided, if everything is a chase and nothing is a dance, he lets go now, not after his self-respect is on life support. Being wise in love isn't about being emotionally numb. It's about reading reality faster. One question made me a victim. Dangerous how? Not physically, psychologically. Because when you stop chasing, you become the man most people aren't prepared for. The man who can care deeply and still walk away. That's the guy who's hard to manipulate, hard to string along. The guy who listens to your story, feels your beauty, enjoys your presence, but never forgets he has a life outside of you. That man doesn't chase. He chooses. Here's what never chase a woman looks like in real life, not in some cold quote. You meet a girl you like. You feel the spark. You make a move. You text her first. You ask her out. You show up with intention. That's not chasing. That's leading. Chasing starts when she doesn't match your effort, and you keep pouring more in anyway. She takes hours to reply. You reply in seconds. She cancels plans last minute. You reschedule like she did you a favor. She sends dry responses. You send paragraphs. She's out with some other guy. That's not loyalty. That's self-betrayal dressed up as romance. A girl wrote this under a video exposing nice guy behavior, and it was savage but honest. The guy I respected most didn't chase me. He showed interest, and when I was inconsistent, he backed off. Not in a petty way, just in a my life is full either way kind of way. That made me rethink my behavior. The guys who begged? That's dark psychology from her side. Not because she's cruel. Because that's how human nature works. Abundance attracts. Desperation repels. When you chase a woman, you're secretly telling her, I don't have abundance. I don't have options. Even if that's not completely true, that's how it looks. And remember Machiavelli. People judge what they see, not what's buried deep inside your feel-good stories. So you have a choice. Keep chasing, hoping one day someone will reward your persistence, while your self-respect gets slowly shaved away, or shift. Stop running after people who walk away. Start walking in a direction that attracts people who walk with you. Never chase a woman doesn't mean hate women. It means stop hating yourself enough to accept emotional scraps. It means you work on your mission more than your messages. Value your attention as a gift, not a default. See rejection as redirection, not proof you're worthless. Refuse to compete to be chosen by someone who sees men as entertainment instead of equals. Dark psychology, the way we're using it here, isn't about destroying her. It's about refusing to destroy yourself. It's about understanding that attraction isn't built by who tries the hardest to impress. It's built by who respects themselves enough to walk away when that respect isn't matched. In the next parts, we're going deeper into this. We'll talk about how women actually test men, often without even realizing it. how to respond in ways that raise attraction instead of lowering your value, and how to become the kind of man who never has to chase, because the life you've built naturally pulls the right women toward you. But for now, let this sink in. The moment you start chasing, you stop leading. The moment you beg to be chosen, you tell the world you don't choose yourself. And the moment you decide, truly decide, that you will never again chase a woman who doesn't clearly choose you back, that's the moment you stop being a background character in her story and become the main character in your own. There's a moment every man remembers, even if he pretends he doesn't. She pulled back. You felt it. The texts got shorter. The replies got slower. Your chest got tight. Your brain went into panic mode. And instead of pulling back too, you did what you were trained to do. You chased harder. You sent the long paragraph. You checked in again. You tried to fix her mood. You asked if you'd done something wrong. You moved from man she once liked to emotional customer service. And that's the exact moment you lost her. Not always instantly. Sometimes she kept you around. But something shifted forever. Her attraction dropped. Her respect softened. Her curiosity died. Why? Because whether she realizes it or not, she was running a test. Not some conscious, evil Machiavellian plot. Instinct. Pattern. Dark psychology in its quietest form. When you chased, you answered. No woman, no person, can deeply respect that. This is the part no one teaches young men. Women test. Life tests. Not because everyone is bad. Because human beings are wired to push against things, to see what's real. A woman will test your boundaries to see if you actually have any. She'll test your time to see if it has value. She'll test your emotions to see if they own you. The problem isn't that the tests exist. The problem is you keep failing them by chasing. Machiavelli watched people test rulers the same way. Probe. Push. See how far they could go without consequence. He understood something you need to tattoo on your behavior. People believe action, not intention. You can swear you're high value all day long. You can talk about being a king with your friends. You can post quotes about self-respect on your story. But when she flakes and you still show up, when she disrespects and you still stay, when she sends WYD at midnight and you answer like a dog hearing the treat bag, that's who you really are. Not your captions, not your theories, your reactions. Niccolo Machiavelli apply that to you. The first method for estimating your power as a man is to look at how the women around you behave when they think they've got you. If they take forever to reply, only call when they're bored or sad, flirt with you when they need validation, then disappear. Treat your time like it's on sale. You're not the ruler in that dynamic. You're the entertainment. Here's the brutal twist. They didn't necessarily start that way. Some women start attracted, respectful, genuinely curious. Then they watch you. They test lightly at first, show up late, reply dry, see if you'll chase. But if you panic, if you crack jokes to win her back, if you apologize for things you didn't do, if you start saying, whatever you want, it's fine, she thinks, oh. And that switch is very hard to undo. One guy wrote this in a comment section and it was raw. She used to tell me I was different from other guys. Confident, focused, not clingy. The second I fell for her, I dropped everything to be around her. She lost interest so fast it felt like she flipped a switch. Took me a year to admit. She didn't change. That's the Machiavellian dark side of chasing. The more you orbit her, the less gravity you have. Think of it like this. You are either a center of gravity or a satellite. Centers of gravity pull. They have their own life, own mission, own standards. People rotate around them, willingly. Satellites chase. They revolve around someone else's life. They adjust their path to stay close. They feel important, but only as long as the center allows them to stay in orbit. When you chase a woman, you become a satellite. You rearrange your schedule. You reshape your personality. You censor your truth. Not because you're weak. That is not attraction. That's performance. And performers get replaced the moment the audience gets bored. Niccolo Machiavelli again. Don't take feared in the creepy, abusive sense. We're not talking about scaring women. We're talking about this. If the choice is between being loved because you're endlessly available, always chasing, always bending, or being quietly feared because she knows you will walk if she crosses your non-negotiables, which is safer for your soul? It is safer to be the man she slightly fears losing than the man she knows is incapable of leaving. Because once she knows you won't leave, the worst parts of her nature, her ego, Her need to prove she's desirable, her boredom, can easily start to run the dynamic. She might not mean to. She might even feel guilty about it sometimes. But she will lower the effort. She will test more. She will risk more disrespect. Why? Because she can. And human beings abuse what has zero consequences. That's dark psychology 101. Your job is not to punish her. Your job is to ensure that you are never a zero consequence man. That means, if she's hot and cold, you don't chase the warmth. You match the temperature. If she disappears, you don't send a search party. You let the absence speak. If she disrespects you, you don't write an essay. You calmly pull back your access. You're not playing games. You're playing reality. One guy dropped this under a dating video. The moment I stopped explaining myself to girls who were clearly playing games, they either disappeared or stepped up. Both outcomes were a win. I didn't need to convince anyone. That's it. It means you don't negotiate your value just to keep someone who's half invested. Now let's talk about the parts of you that want to chase. Because if we're honest, the problem isn't women. It's that chasing gives you something. It gives you a story she'll see one day. You know what it doesn't give you? Respect. Not hers. Not yours. Because deep down, you know when you're begging. You know when you're bending. You know when you're trying to earn something that was never meant to be earned that way. Love is not a job you apply for. Attraction is not a position you hustle into. You can influence it, sure. You can present your best. You can build a life that naturally draws better women. But once you're chasing, you flip the polarity. You're no longer a man evaluating if this woman fits your life. You're a boy asking, am I enough? That boy is exactly who dark psychology preys on. Not just from women, from everyone. Manipulative bosses. Selfish friends. Users. They can smell the kid in you who still wants someone to pat his head and say, you're a good boy. As long as that kid is driving, you will keep chasing, not just women, but anyone who offers you a sense of worth. Machiavelli would tell you something harsh here. If you want power, you have to grow up. And growing up means this. You give yourself the validation you're desperately chasing outside. Only then can you approach a woman as a man, not a boy applying for approval. And here's the twisted secret. The second you do that, your attraction goes up, instantly. You're sending, here's who I am. That's rare. That's valuable. You don't get that energy by faking. You get it by genuinely having a full life. Friends, work, fitness, hobbies, mission, not as props to impress her, as pillars that matter to you even if no one ever sees them on Instagram. Machiavelli talked constantly about a prince needing his own arms, his own army, not borrowed ones. You need your own army too. Not followers, not simps, not admirers. Your army is your habits, your standards, your routines, your values. If those belong to you, no woman can ever fully conquer you, unless you invite her to rule beside you. That's attractive. Because here's the final twisted truth about chasing versus being chosen. Healthy, high-quality women are not attracted to men who chase them blindly. A man who can set pace. A man who won't fold just because she's pretty. Why? Because if your boundaries melt in the face of her looks, they'll melt in the face of someone else's too. She can't trust that. She might enjoy it short-term, but she won't build a life on it. So your refusal to chase isn't just about your dignity. It's about your future. About becoming someone who can actually hold a relationship without being swallowed by it. Niccolo Machiavelli translate that for your situation. If you want to stop losing and love the same way over and over, you have to change how you conduct yourself with women. You can't keep using the movie strategy. Over-pursue, over-confess, over-invest early, and expect a different ending. You have to update. From chasing to inviting. From over-explaining to observing. From overthinking texts to improving your actual life. That means, when she cancels twice, you don't ask for a third chance. You step back and let her feel your absence. When she shows interest, you don't smother it. You match it. You leave room for her to reach too. When things are unclear, you don't chase clarity through essays. You state your intention once and watch what she does, not what she says. One guy summarized his entire glow-up in a comment that belongs on a plaque. I stopped trying to win women and started trying to win my own respect. The better I felt about the man in the mirror, the less I chased. That's not magic. That's Machiavellian logic. You became the prize to yourself first, and human psychology did the rest. In the final part, we're going to tie all this together. How to build a life that naturally ends chasing. how to set up your standards so that the right women qualify themselves to be in your world, and how to respond when someone does pull away, without ever again turning into the desperate version of you that you're finally starting to outgrow. Because never chase a woman isn't a slogan. It's a full strategy. And once you live it, you'll realize the scariest part was never losing her. It was realizing how much of yourself you were ready to lose just to feel chosen for a little while. There's a version of you that never chases. Not because he's cold, not because he hates women, but because he is already full of purpose, full of standards, full of self-respect. Women are not an escape from his emptiness. They're an addition to his kingdom. And any woman who wants to be in his life is either walking beside that mission or watching it from a distance. Right now, you might feel very far from that. You still overthink her silence. You still get pulled into mental spirals when she takes hours to reply. You still feel that twist of panic when she posts some guy on her story. And I'm not going to lie to you. Those feelings don't disappear overnight. But you're not here to feel nothing. You're here to act differently. That's where the dark part of this psychology flips in your favor. You stop letting your emotions run your behavior and start letting your standards do it. Machiavelli understood that people live in stories, but respond to signals. Niccolo Machiavelli, you might be the kindest, most loyal, most genuine guy on earth. You might have deep feelings, real intentions, serious plans. But she doesn't experience those right away. She experiences your appearance, your energy, your pace, your boundaries. You can be both. And one of them kills attraction. The guy who never chases doesn't hide his heart. He just refuses to put it on clearance. So what does that look like, practically? Let's walk through the situations where you usually fold and rebuild them. Scenario 1. She pulls away. Old you. Notices the distance. Texts more. Calls more. Writes paragraphs. Offers to fix things you didn't break. New you. Notices the distance. Matches the distance. Not out of spite. Out of self-respect. You don't ignore her. You don't ghost. You just stop stretching. If she takes 8 hours to reply, you don't reply in 8 seconds. If she cancels twice, you don't chase a third chance. If she says, "I'm just confused right now," you don't volunteer to be her emotional support until she figures it out. You say, "I get it. Take your time. I'm not going to chase this." That's not a line. That's a boundary. You've just communicated 3 powerful things without screaming. You notice the shift. You're not begging. The door is open, but you're not holding it all night. A guy wrote this under a short about pullbacks. When she went distant, I used to panic and try harder. Now, I just mirror her energy and focus on my life. The crazy part? The right girls come back stronger, the wrong ones disappear. That's what happens when you stop chasing and start observing. Scenario 2. She's inconsistent. One day she's all over you. Calling, texting, planning. Next day she's gone. Old you. Clings to the high days. Ignores the low days. Tells himself, she's just going through stuff. Forever. New you. Treats inconsistency as data, not drama. You don't punish her. You don't lecture her. You don't send YouTube links about attachment styles. You pull your investment back to match her real level, not her peak moments. You give her space to decide if she wants to show up fully without you bribing her into it. If she stabilizes, great. If she doesn't, you quietly disqualify her from throne-level access in your life. Remember, you're not auditioning for her movie. You're casting for your own. That subtle shift is dark psychology in the healthiest way possible. You stop placing all the power in her hands and start using your power of selection. Scenario 3. She tests. She makes a sarcastic comment about you. She flirts with another guy in front of you. She brings up her ex a little too often. Old you laughs it off. Gets jealous. Argues. Tries to be the bigger man on the surface while dying inside. New you. Reads the test. Responds with calm, not chaos. She makes a disrespectful joke. Old you. Laughs nervously. Then you drop it. You don't debate. You don't threaten. She flirts with another guy in your face. Old you. Sulks, starts competing, tries to outdo him. New you. Engages politely, then makes a mental note. You watch what she does when she sees you're not shaken. You're not ignoring reality. You're simply refusing to dance for her ego. Niccolo Machiavelli, the fool, waits 2 years to leave a situation he knew felt wrong in the first 2 weeks. The wise man adjusts early. The fool needs 10 heartbreaks with the same pattern before he changes his behavior. Maybe it says, "You're addicted to the chase." You're more excited by drama than by stability. You'd rather be chosen for your persistence than for your presence. Those are boy patterns. You're not a boy anymore. So you act like the wise man now, not when the damage is irreversible. You stop texting first for months on end when nothing is coming back. You stop offering girlfriend treatment to someone who won't even give you basic consistency. You stop treating every woman's attention like a drought-ending rain. And here's where the deepest dark psychology flips to your side. Scarcity is powerful. Not fake scarcity, where you pretend to be busy but are really glued to your phone. Real scarcity, where your time is genuinely full of things that matter beyond romance. The man who never chases a woman isn't doing it as a tactic. He's doing it because he's already in motion. Work, training, family, friends, projects, sleep. He doesn't have endless empty hours to fill with anxiety about whether someone likes him. So when he talks to a woman, it's from overflow, not from emptiness. You don't have to be rich or successful to think like that. You just have to stop worshiping her attention like it's oxygen. A comment that perfectly captured this mindset said, "Once I stopped acting like women were the missing piece of my life, I started seeing them as potential partners, not saviors." The pressure dropped. The attraction went up. Yeah, funny. Niccolo Machiavelli, your times have changed. You're not in high school anymore, where chasing the hottest girl is normal and everyone's immature. You're not living in movies where grand gestures fix toxic dynamics. You're in a reality where the more you chase, the more you train your brain to see yourself as less. If you want constant success in love and life, you can't keep running the same nice guy code in a world that responds to power, not pleading. Changing your conduct with the times means adapting from pick-me energy to I pick who gets access energy. Adapting from chasing validation to building value. Adapting from emotional reactivity to strategic responses. So what's the end game? Are you supposed to be some cold, detached statue who never feels anything? No. You're supposed to become a man whose love is real, and therefore too expensive to throw at anyone who treats him like a backup option. You're supposed to become someone women can fall deeply for, because they feel both your heart and your spine. That's the man who creates gravity. And gravity doesn't chase. It pulls. It pulls the right women closer. The ones who are tired of playing games. The ones who appreciate consistency. The ones who want a partner, not a pet. It also repels the wrong ones. The ones who feed on endless attention. The ones who see you as an ego boost, not a human. The ones who enjoy being chased more than being known. That's not a loss. That's a filter. Someone said this under a never chase video, and it belongs written on your wall. When I stopped chasing, I didn't lose women. I lost the wrong women. The right ones stepped forward. Read that again. Slowly. This is the heart of Machiavellian dark psychology used correctly. You're not learning these ideas to manipulate her. You're learning them so you stop being manipulated by your own neediness. So what does life look like when you truly live, never chase a woman? It looks like this. You lead, but you don't beg. You express interest, but you don't overinvest. You read behavior, not excuses. You give second chances, not infinite ones. You stay kind, but you're no longer convenient. Your DMs stop being novels. Your nights stop being spent staring at typing bubbles. Your mood stops rising and crashing based on a notification. When she's into you, you meet her halfway. When she's unsure, you don't try to sell her. When she's out, you don't follow. You respect her right to choose, and you respect your right to keep moving. That combination, respect for her independence, respect for your own value, is rare. And rare things, in human psychology, are always more attractive. Think back over everything we've covered. Chasing turns you from a center of gravity into a satellite. Tests aren't evil, they're human. You just have to stop failing them. Your reactions matter more than your intentions. Boundaries aren't cruelty, they're how you teach people how to treat you. Your life, your mission, habits, standards, is your army. You don't borrow identity from women's attention. Letting go early is wiser than clinging late. Niccolo Machiavelli appears as a man who can live, work, and grow with or without her. Then, if she earns the right to experience who you really are, your loyalty, your softness, your full range, it means something. To her. To you. Because you didn't give it away on day one. You didn't throw it at people who never intended to catch it. You protected your heart with a mind that finally grew teeth. Let's be blunt. This wasn't about turning you into a misogynist. It wasn't about teaching you how to win against women. It was about something much more uncomfortable, stopping you from losing against yourself. You've seen what chasing gets you. Sleepless nights, dry texts, broken boundaries, half-love. The world does not reward the man who throws himself at anyone who smiles at him. It rewards the man who sees clearly, moves deliberately, and refuses to abandon his self-respect just to feel chosen. Here's your recap, in one sentence. Stop chasing women to feel worthy. Start building a life and a backbone that make you worthy, with or without them. Now we're at the part this always comes down to. 2 roads. You can close this and keep doing what you've always done. Keep chasing. Keep double texting. Keep over-explaining. Keep letting your mood live and die by her attention. Keep telling yourself, one day the right girl will appreciate that I never gave up, while you quietly give up on yourself. Or, you can decide that tonight is the line. From now on, you never chase a woman again. You lead once, clearly. You invite, not beg. You match energy instead of over-delivering. You enforce your standards quietly. From now on, you become the man who can love deeply and still walk away. Because that's the only kind of man who is truly free and truly attractive. If you're done chasing, tap like. If you're ready to become the kind of man they can't string along, can't manipulate with silence, and can't quietly downgrade to Plan B. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Drop a comment with no chase so I know you're one of the few who didn't click away when this got uncomfortable. And send this to the one friend who keeps humiliating himself in DMs, the one who doesn't realize he's worth more than late-night WYD texts and half-hearted maybe plans. Because this isn't self-help. This is strategy. This is war. And you didn't just watch a video. You just stopped chasing and turned your mind into a weapon.